get on there, because Fenwick and Nathan, what sort of lap time did they get earlier? No, it doesn't want to tell me there, so... Oh, it's confusing. Yeah, I think they could be right on the pace there. Well, let's see what sort of start they get. The revs rise. This race is over 12 laps, as was the last one. Away we go, and it's not a great start there by Fenwick and Napton. Actually, it is Founds and Walmsley who do indeed get the jump. I think it's been a pretty decent start there. Also by Bryan and Hyde. I think Crawford and Hardy might have struggled a little bit off the line there as well. They go through the first corner, Coppers, up towards Charlie's one, then Charlie's two, and they're going to be in your sight about now, I think, Bradley.
Yeah, got them here. Pete Founds, Jevon Walmsley leading the way, sorry, ahead of Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy. Then it is the 81, the 9, and then the 91, I believe that was. The Ramsdens in around about 6th place there as they come by me there, but they are going side by side. They want that top 5 position in the early stages of this one. They'll be looking to go with the race leaders there, but the number 72, the FHO supported Pete Founds, Jevon Walmsley leading the way. Up towards Park Corner they go then, and on to Chris Kerr for the first time of, how many laps did you say there, sorry Keith?
12 laps this one, mate.
12 laps, so first time of 12 laps, and as they make the way round the gooseneck then, Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy right there with them as well. But Pete Founds, Jevon Walmsley, certainly the pairing to be in this one. But everybody through safely. Looks like Charlie Morfitt and Dave Ryder is the outfit bringing up the rear of the field then. They were having a great ride earlier on in the Bemsee Formula 1, Formula 2 sidecar race. But the race leaders already into the bottom of the mountain.
Yep, sure are, and pretty much going line astern now. Nobody making any great challenges at the bottom of the mountain there, the first part of it. Actually, not really I suppose it is the bottom of the climb, actually. Then the bottom of the mountain is the next right-hander, because that is very much at the bottom of the mountain. It's totally blind there as they go flying over the top, and some of these sidecar outfits do get a bit of fresh air under their wheels as well. You can hear a bit of wheel spin as well as some of the bikes go light. Pete Founds, Jev Walmsley to the line then to complete the first of 12 laps. Over the line they go. It is ahead of Crawford and Hardy there, who managed to get past Bryan and Hyde after that slightly slippery start there. Clark and Johnson up next. Then it is Ramsden and Ramsden. And then we've got Dawson and Sims, Lockie and Binns, Saunders and Stoko, Alaria and Lace, Moore and Moore, Schofield and Smith, Saunders and Cook, Morfitt and Ryder. So everybody safely over the line for the first time of this 12-lap race. 13 machines entered. And obviously the fastest one on the track at the moment is the leader of Pete Founds, Jevs Walmsley, who are looking to... I don't have the championship points here, unfortunately, Bradley, but I imagine they're probably leading the way in the championship, because certainly any other results I've found seem to feature their name very prominently at the top.
Yeah, they're not doing too bad, are they, there, as they make their way down in towards Mansfield, then looking further down the order. I can see Kieran Clark and Andrew Johnson on that luminous orange, or day-glow orange, Eddie's Moto machine ahead of Steve and Matty Ramsden, as we mentioned, their father and son pairing on the number 99, the orange, yellow and white 99, as they make their way through the chicane then on the first of these flying laps. And I think earlier on today we were looking in the 1 minute 36s, weren't we, for Pete Founds, Jevon Walmsley?
Yep, most certainly, my friend, a 36.5 they got. I've just realised we do actually have the points in the programme, mate. It is Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy who lead the way with 135 points ahead of Pete Founds and Jev Walmsley, who are 100 points. They've got 100 points, they're 35 behind. Then it's Steve and Matty Ramsden with 88 points. Kieran Clark and Johnson there with 82 points. Wayne Lockie and Binns with 51 points. So I'm not quite sure what the points are. I think it might be 25-22. I'm not 100% sure on that, but certainly Founds and Walmsley have most definitely closed that gap. But Crawford, of course, is recovering from that nasty crash he had at Scarborough a few weeks ago. Cup Championship is being led by Kieran Clark as well, so a little bit of chopping and changing there, but over the line this time to complete lap number 2. Everybody has made their way across, and the fastest people on the track, 37.3 there for Pete Founds and Jev Walmsley. Crawford and Hardy, second place for them, 2.5 behind. So once again, I think Pete Founds has got the measure of him around this Cadwell circuit. As I say, I'm not taking anything away from Lee Crawford, because he's carrying injuries that most people would be lying on the couch watching the MotoGP rather than racing an outfit around Cadwell Park. No change at the sharp end. Is the wild card Bryan and Hyde there in third place as the leaders once again make their way out of the chicane up towards mountain bottom. Got to give that. We've got to give that. We should call it Kageyama, shouldn't we? Really, that corner at the bottom of the mountain, shouldn't we?
Going back 21 years now.
Yeah, well, you look at most of the names on circuits, mate, they go back a bit further than 21 years, really, don't they? So
it's very true there. In fact, if you have a look at the chicane, we've got, I think that's Bruce and Ashmore leading a four-way battle for that particular position for the minor placings. And so Bruce and Ashmore again, another father and son pairing going in towards the bottom of the mountain then, but I can see the race leaders are already out of barn.
yeah, they're absolutely flying. There's going to be no touching those guys. Well, I say there's no touching them, actually, because it looks like Lee Crawford's turned up the wick a little bit there, because he turns in a 37.333 against the 37.660 of the leader. So he's actually got the gap down to 1.2 seconds. If he can maintain that sort of pace for the next few laps, because we're only 3 laps into this 12-lap race, we could well be in for a very close finish, if not a change of place. So Lee Crawford wouldn't mind taking home a gold medal from this meeting either. No changes further down the field as everybody comes across the line. Main battle on the track is actually that one for 7th place between Lockie Ben, Saunders and Stoko, Ilaria, Lace, Moore and Moore. They're all quite close, those guys. But a good battle for the minor placings behind them as well. More and more going past on Schofield and Smith there, but obviously the main attraction is at the very sharp end of the field, where Founds have been the quickest driver through the first sector, but the second sector, I'm just going to check that. It's not going to tell me. It's Crawford, thought it was, who closed up in the second sector there. So that seems to be where Lee seems to have the measure of Pete there. We'll see if we can get confirmation of that once again. Fastest for Founds there with 55.848, but it's a 56.094 in sector 1 there as they power their way to the bottom of the hill once it go through the Hall bends. And again, we do know that Lee Crawford is very good through this section of the track. These guys are a couple of seconds quicker than anybody in that first sector. As we wait for them to come out of Barn Corner, head towards us to complete 1/3 race distance. Here they go, tucked in tight. Gap over the line last time, 1.181. What do we see this time? Over they go. Fastest lap now for Founds and Walmsley is 1.480 because they've managed to pull 0.3 of a second out of the hat and head up the road. Fantastic stuff from them. They know that they might have been coming under threat. Maybe a bit of a wobble there from Pete Founds and Jeff Walmsley somewhere. Definitely no wobbles on this lap as they go quicker than ever. Bradley, do you think Crawford's looking strong past you? Do you think he's just struggling to hang on?
Well, he's certainly trying, because that sidecar wheel was just on the other side of the white line there as it came out of Charlie's there. He's certainly got the hammer down with number 72 there. Pete Founds, Jevons Walmsley doing everything he can to maintain that advantage that he has. They ran about 1.5 seconds, I heard you say, as they came across the line then. I'm watching them come around the Chris curve and in towards the gooseneck. The 72 still leads the 17. Let's have a look then as they dip out of my sight. Around about 1, 2, but it's opened up a little bit on this lap, I reckon, Keith. I don't know if you've got the sector times there, as the number 9 machine in 3rd place makes their way down and towards Mansfield now. Kieran Clark and Andrew Johnson. Next up is the 81 there of Brian and Hyde, ahead of Stephen Matty Ramsden, who 1 lap ago had a look at the inside into the chicane. This time around, no chance.
No, 0.7 of a second was the difference through the first sector there, so absolutely decimating the difference there. That gap's going to go out to over 2 seconds with that sort of a gap, unless all of a sudden Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy can find something in that second sector. But unfortunately for them, the fastest second sector time has been set by Pete Founds, and I think, a bit of a wobble on the exit there. Tell you what, he's not giving up on this one, is Lee Crawford. Good on him. I know he'll be hurting, but no, it's another fastest lap there by Pete Founds and Jeff Walmsley. They've gone down to a 36.526 now. Again, I don't have the lap records to hand, but it gives you an idea of the sort of pace here, because this is the 3rd race for these guys this weekend. Assuming he's picking up 3 or 5 points, we're really not sure which. He's definitely closing the gap whichever way it goes for Pete Founds and Jeff Walmsley, and I think these folks still have 2 or 3 rounds left, if I remember rightly from looking at their website earlier. So we'll have to wait and see. No, they haven't got any details of their next race, unfortunately, there. I don't think they're joining us again throughout the year. It would be nice to see them again, of course. We do welcome a guest sidecar class as those battles down the back of the field come across the line once again, separated by fractions of second. Ilaria and Lace leading more and more, chasing Lockie and Binns there, and also Saunders and Cook right in the mix too. Good little battle right for the last places there between Schofield and Smith and Morfitt and Ryder, who of course we saw out in the Bemsee F1s a little bit earlier. Leaders to the Kageyama corner, then up into the bottom of the mountain, across the short chute there, over the top, right on cue. They haven't done anything special in the first sector. They have actually gone a little bit slower than their rivals by about 4/10 as well, but their gap was out at 2.6 seconds last time, so they can afford to hit the cruise control now. They really can, unless Pete Bounds makes a big mistake here with, what have we got now? 6 laps it will be, so we're at the half race distance. I think he's going to struggle to lose this one, quite frankly. Bradley does go quicker in second sector too, though, so he comes across the line with a 36.596, and it's a 37.5, so that's basically another second he's pulled out of that lead, which now goes out to 3.5 seconds. Started to look like a bit of a Pete Bounds, Jeff Wormsley benefit, isn't it, Bradley?
Yeah, I think you're right there, and it could well be a case that obviously it's the final race of the weekend as well. It's the final race for these guys, and Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy, with those injuries carried from Oliver's Mount a few weeks ago, it could well be that they're perhaps the worst they've been throughout the course of this weekend as well. To take nothing away though from Pete Bounds and Jevons Wormsley, 3.5 seconds or so, 4 seconds is the advantage as they make their way up towards the top end of the circuit, around Chris Curve and into the gooseneck once more. But that battle between Clark and Johnson, Bryan and Hyde and the Ramsdens still rages on. Down into Mansfield then for our leading pair of Pete Bounds, Jevons Wormsley. Across in front of me, in fact, it's Dawson and Sims now, as the next battle comes across here in front of me as well. It's James Saunders and Sarah Stoko ahead of Lockie and Binns, the 96 and the number 14. But here we go then. Here's our battle for third place. It is Kieran Clark and Andrew Johnson then around the left-hander of Mansfield. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outfits now for the minor placings then, being rounded out at the moment by Charlie Morford and Dave Ryder, but that is that one between Ilaria and Lace, Bruce and Ashmore, Saunders and Cook, Schofield and Smith, and Morford and Ryder.
Well, just 6 laps left in the racing, and after this race we're going to have the GP Legends join us once again for another display. Unfortunately, Ian Guy not able to join us for this last one. I'm afraid Barry's had to head off and get his afternoon nap as well, so we're going to pretty much let them get on with it, and the spectators enjoy the last parading of the sidecars there. Should be on the track for about 15 minutes or so at the end of this race as the leaders come across the line. A little bit of a battle going on here for the 5th place there, mate, between Hyde and Ramsden actually. The wild cards of Bryan and Hyde there, holding off the Ramsden charge by about 4/10 of a second. I'd be interested to know if the wild cards are entitled to score points, actually. That's not something I know for sure. Obviously, they're here, they're racing, and in the case of Bryan and Hyde, they're actually...
doing rather
no,
well.
it's all F2. It's just got them this. I'm just looking at the placing. It's all very confusing here on the screen. What were you going to say, mate?
Yeah, they're doing rather well there as well. Oh, I think we may have an issue here for Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy. They're cruising down towards Mansfield. So number 17 of Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy, the championship leaders then. Their championship lead is going to be Slash, as they suspect are going to be at the chicane.
I don't believe it. How unlucky can you get? Looking good for that second place and the points that go with it. This could really affect the championship, of course. Pete Bounds and Jeff Wormsley were hacking away out of there with the 2 wins they've had so far, and it's looking good at the moment for that 3rd win. They're going to come across the line with just 4 laps left in this 12-lap event, so they won't know the retirement of their rivals there. They're getting a pit board down there by the look of it, so they'll know what the gap is. Let's just have a quick look and see what it says. Let's try and pick that up and see if they know their rivals have gone out. They don't seem to be... No, they're just giving them a lap countdown by the look of it. Let's wait and see. But they will see the rivals. They're looking at the TSL timing on their screen, which anybody, of course, can do away from the circuit. So that means moving into second place then. It's Kieran Clark now who claims the 2nd place. So he'll be delighted with that, no doubt, because that's going to be some points in his championship. And, of course, he's also looking to improve himself in the championship as well. So it's brilliant news for him. Just trying to... Yeah, the Leeds pair. Just wondering where Clark and Johnson were from, but they are from Leeds there. Wild card of Gary Bryan and Phil Hyde, the market raising guys, the L&W contractors, the sponsors, of course, of the Rookie Thousands here at the British Motorcycle Racing Club.
That battle for 3rd place, Keith, is now a battle for 2nd, and there's 3 guys all fighting for it. So unfortunately, one of those 3 outfits will not be on the podium at the end of this one. Lee Crawford and Scott Hardy watch on, and it's going to be a small consolation, but they do have a good view of the action there on the banking. But their LCR Suzuki has cried enough. as that battle for second races into the bottom of the mountain now, and it is the Eddie's Moto Dayglow Orange of Kieran Clark and Andrew Johnson still leading that particular battle ahead of Brian and Hyde and the Ramsdens in close company.
So the board goes out to the leaders and tells them they've now got a 20-second advantage. So don't know how well Pete Founds could read the board at the speed he's going past it and how much attention he's paying to it. But if he did manage to catch it, he'll know he can really hit the cruise control. Not that he did last time round, because he does a 37.218, which is only about a second or so slower than his personal best lap. One man who can't hit the cruise control at the moment, though, is Kieran Clark, because him and Johnson have got Gary Bryan right behind them, and then it's Steve Ramsden with Matty in the chair. Those three are covered by less than a second, all three bikes. So it's all to play for the minor placings in this particular race, Bradley.
Yeah, you're right there. So Pete Founds, Jevon Walmsley, I think it's safe to say that they've got a healthy advantage. They're down in towards Mansfield now as the battle for second goes through the dip of Park Straight. Just to put in perspective how far in front the number 72 machine is. I'm watching for that battle for second then as they make their way around the far end of the circuit. The Dayglow Orange machine will burst into my view any moment now, and there it is right on cue. And the number 81 of Brian and Hyde all over the rear wheels once again. The number 97 just coming by me now then, Dawson and Sims down the back straight then, but that battle for second in towards Mansfield. Lockie and Binns next up, they are in 6th position on the number 14 outfit, then it is the number 96 of James Saunders and Sarah Stoko. They are 7th overall at this stage, but that battle for second place, Keith, you see them coming towards you now.
Yeah, just waiting for him to come through. I can see the pit board hanging out. That's my bellwether to tell me when he's coming, basically. There goes the pit board. And if it's going to be super accurate, I think it's going to tell him he's about 23 seconds out in front. He's certainly not letting off the throttle, though, because that was another 37, a 37.8. He is not letting this one go easily.
Sorry, I think we may have a retirement here as well. Can't quite see who it is from this distance. Got suspicions as to who it is, but we'll get a number in just a second as Pete Founds, Jevon Walmsley come past me once more with a very healthy advantage. But we do have waved yellows here at Charlie's 1.
Did announce earlier too, we've lost the number 8 outfit a couple of laps ago, the Brian Laria Oliver Lace machine as well. That went AWOL too, so that's 2 outfits that are definitely retired already. So you think we might have a third one joining the AWOL party, yeah?
Unfortunately so there, yeah. Both obviously rider and passenger are okay, but it looks like it may be a mechanical retirement there for that particular outfit.
Okay. Pete Founds hits the timing beam at the first sector there, and he's 57.391 against a 55.329. It's about 2 seconds slower than his best through the first sector there, so that's pretty much cruise control by Pete Founds' standards, I would have thought. He'll know he's got a healthy lead. He's done 10 laps into the race. In fact, it's going to be lap 11, so it's going to be the last lap flag going out very shortly indeed. Just waiting for Pete Founds to come and see that.
Just confirmation.
Pit board being readied.
Yep, Chris Schofield and Josh Smith, who have retired up here with me on the exit of Charlie's, Keith, I'm afraid. For that, out 11.
Field and Smith, you say, disappearing down there. Right, there's the last lap flag there, and one more lap. Founds and Walmsley, 25 points in the bank. They'll be well pleased with that. I don't know if they will have seen their rivals parked up at the side, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's a little bit hard to hide a sidecar outfit around a racetrack, really. Here comes that battle in for second place. And last time the gap was 0.8 of a second between second and third. It's down to 0.3 of a second. Last lap flag goes out. Stephen Matty Ramsden a little bit further back now. So very much a two-way battle for that second place now. Bradley, that's going to be up with you very shortly indeed. They're going to be coming off of Charlie's. And you can call the balls if Clark and Johnson can gain the advantage over Brian and Hyde there.
Got them here and they're going through the dip now. 1, 2, and then the Ramsdens now through the dip. So you're right, Stephen Matty Ramsden there, just losing a few tenths on the previous handful of laps or so, but they're up towards Park Corner now, looking for Pete Founds and Jevon Walmsley. They're already through the chicane, heading underneath the footbridge and into the bottom of the mountain for the final time. But that battle for second place, I'm watching them look around Chris Curve, and it is still Kieran Clark and Andrew Johnson with the advantage over the number 81 machine of Brian and Hyde. Through the gooseneck they go, not close enough to make a challenge this time around. This is for second and third. The Ramsdens are still there in fourth, ready to pick up any pieces if any were to come their way. They're having a look at the inside. That's the 81 on the 9. No room there at the chicane, but there's 1 or 2 overtaking opportunities if you're feeling brave in the latter half of the lap, isn't there, Keith?
Watching him at the bottom of the hill there, see if there's any change at all. Sorry if I'm not giving the right reply, mate. Unfortunately, you get drowned out. I've got to keep the window open here, otherwise I'm going to die in this heat. But I can see that Clark and Johnson still holding on to that second place as they go across the top of the mountain. Pete Fowles and Jeff Wormsley have indeed won the race very convincingly indeed. Were quite slow on the last lap of 39. That's all they managed. Whoopie-doo. Clark and Johnson, though, can they hold on to it? I think they can, because here they go, powering out of barn down towards the checker flag. Clark and Johnson are indeed going to take that second place from Brian Hyde's. Ramsden and Ramsden finish in fourth place overall there. So good times, and those guys were all a little bit slower than the Fowles and Wormsley as well. I'm guessing their tyres are probably getting a little bit tired as well. So the pit crew quickly grab their bits and pieces, pack away the pit boards and stuff like that. Get ready for that quick climb up the mountain, quick jog up the mountain, see if they can beat the next event coming out of the paddock. So while they make their way around, I do need to thank everybody indeed for their trouble, because it's my last chance on the microphone here. I need to thank all the people who make this show work in the background, all the event officials, the volunteers, the people in the office like Claire and Mike, everybody in admin. Tracy's in the background there as well. Chief Technical Officer Kenny Byrne, and also the tech officials led by Mark Dent there. Chief Medical Officer this weekend, Dr. Tom Hurst. I'm glad we didn't give you too much to work on. Really pleased to hear that. And everybody else, our board members like our medical liaison Pete Bartlett out there as well. All these people work so hard in the background. Chief of Startline Lottie Gray and her crew have done a fantastic job. The recovery crew, Steve and Kev, Gary, Denise and Libby Button also working out there. Henry not here this weekend, our Benevolent Fund Collector, but of course we've had a great weekend for the Benevolent Fund, because all the money that we raise in the background does go